Okay, I think it's recording. I think that's what's happening. Awesome. Welcome everybody to our SnapEd Transition Support Training Series. Today you get myself, Eileen, and Anna, and then Maddie will be joining us in a little bit. And we're going to talk with you about professional competency language to consider in your job search. So like things that you can put in your resume, in your cover letter, things you could even look for when you're job searching, that kind of thing.
So, to get us started off, we just wanted a little time to chat and all get to come together and share as a group. We'd love to hear what is one big aha moment or lesson that you will carry with you from your work in SnapEd. And I will give you my answer first to give you time to think, although I did not think of an answer to this warm-up question that I wrote before this very moment. Uh, so I guess I'll just go with one that we were just talking about in our food smarts training, which is really that just how I think a big learning or lesson that I'll carry with me is how many assumptions you are making when you meet people or when you enter a room full of people, even if you're actively trying not to make assumptions. And so just to always be like checking yourself about before I say this thing that's about to come out of my mouth, is that is that based on an assumption? The thing that prompted this is we were talking about cooking with adults. I worked almost exclusively with adults for I think about 6 or 8 years of my time as an educator in SNAP-Ed. And I this happened multiple times, so I really should have learned the first time. But someone, in a class asked, we were talking about whole grains and we were talking about quinoa or barley or some less common grain. And they asked how do you cook quinoa? And I said something like, oh, you cook it just like you cook rice. And there was like an awkward pause. And then they were like, okay, well, how do you cook rice? And I was like, oh, sorry, that's on me. I just assumed that everyone knew how to cook rice, which is totally not the case. And especially, I didn't grow up with a rice cooker, but if you did, it's a completely different, there's so many different strategies and tips and things that you should keep in mind when you're using cooking in a rice cooker versus cooking rice in a pot versus you can cook rice in the microwave. So I don't know what I was thinking, just saying, oh, you just cook it like rice, as if that's an accurate or like good enough answer for someone that I don't really know very much about. Yep. Yeah, those rice cookers that have like 50 buttons and settings and you're like, what does it mean? I don't know which one. Yeah. So who else would like to share one big aha moment or lesson that you'll carry with you from your work in SnapEd?
I'll share. Mine's not as profound as your lesson, which I think is a lesson that I think we all learn as we start to educate. Is always double check your kits. Always double check your kits that you have every single thing that you have. Um, yeah, you never know where you're gonna forget a can opener or forget a mixing bowl or paper towels or a cutting board. So even though it was in there last time, you check again. Yes, so many packing lists. The checklist, you gotta do it every time.
I think mine is not really an aha moment, but I have never cooked with electric skillet, like ever. Because, and I was like, so when when I went with Esther, I was like, Esther, how these things work, because I had no idea. And she said, oh yeah, they have, that little knob. I was like, oh, okay. And it's not in front of students. It was like, what they bring this person who doesn't even know how to use their utensil. So that was my, well, just like a regular skillet, I guess, but it was kind of embarrassing it a little bit, but it was fine. I just like, we had no idea. I was like, what is this thing?
Yeah, there is a trick to using them too, because they have that little line where the heating element is underneath the skillet where like things cook extra fast, right, on that one little spot. So you always have to keep your eye
Right.
on those. They are tricky to
I
learn
just
how to use.
I just came back from a class. I just burned my
Yeah.
finger today.
Oh,
And we have one skillet of hell. That's how we call it, because that one, and we keep forgetting removing it. Or like, what is the bean who has it? Because, like, she will have 5 skillets, I'll have 5 skillets, and the beans are the same. So that one, it will either don't heat up at all or heat up, like you're in hell. I was like, the skillet of hell. I got it. It's like Russian roulette. Whoever had the bean, and I put my finger. That's what I was running late, because my class ended at 2:30 and then get here. I was like, oh, running late, but I'm gonna make it.
yeah, I see in the chat, Michelle saying, knowing that no matter how much you plan, expect that there will be on the spot momentum changes. So making sure that you're able to pivot. Definitely, definitely. Like, I feel like that should be one of these competencies and might be when we read through them. Stay tuned, I guess. But just, yeah, like how flexible and thinking on how much thinking on your feet you have to do as an educator out in the field.
Janelle, did you have one? You come off mute. I wasn't sure if you wanted to share.
Well, yeah, I was thinking it was encouraging to look at our Paris data and see the numbers, and like that was kind of an aha when I look at it that way. But as these ladies are talking about the mistakes, I can really think of a lot of those as well. So we got to be careful, I suppose, not to get hung up on those and bring those up, because I could give you a whole long list of all the quirky things that have happened along the way. Here's one quick one. I forgot utensils. I forgot a whisk. I forget. And so anyways, I was asking a helper to get me a whisk, and what they brought back was a pie scraper, pie server. And we happened to be making like a pudding mix or a ranch mix, so you really needed the whisk. And in my mind, I'm like, this is horrible. This is never going to work. But the kids were happy as can be, and they were just stirring that stuff with their pie server as happy as they could be. And I thought, I just have to let this go, because everybody's happy as long as I don't dwell on it. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, they don't know the difference. They're just having fun cooking with their friends and their awesome nutrition teacher. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I also like, yeah, like really just I feel like the end of every fiscal year is always like, oh, we have to get everything in and turn it all in, and then we got to start the next one ready to go. And same with quarterly reporting, right? Or whenever we have these deadlines, there's such a rush to get everything done, and then you just like the next week you're right back in the classroom or wherever. And we don't always give ourselves the time to like really just sit and think about, like, appreciate and celebrate the impact that you've had in your community, how many people you've reached, how many schools and classrooms you've visited, and how many, I don't know if anyone's, depending on what your programming looks like, how many pounds of food you're harvesting from a garden, or whatever, like those numbers, you know, in some senses, they don't capture the full story or impact of the work that you're doing, and they can kind of, yeah, like help you put it into perspective sometimes too, about like, oh, I was just doing my day-to-day work, and now I'm thinking about, oh, over the whole year, that's, you know, I don't even know how many this many taught this many kids, or I spent this many, I taught this many series. That's a lot. It's a lot to look back on. Yeah. All right, Eileen, I think we can go on to our next slide unless anyone has any one last lesson or aha moment you want to sneak in there.
All right, go ahead and move on. So, what to expect for this hour that we have together? So, we are going to go through, we have a whole list, we have a document that is all these professional competency language things, and they've now been put into this PowerPoint. So, we're going to go through this together. And optionally, if you want to, open up your resume and start dropping some of these ideas in as you go. It might be helpful to like look at what's in the PowerPoint and then also look at your resume and say like, oh, I could finesse this line to look more like something like that. Or like, oh, I remember now that I taught, 17 class series in last year and I could put that number in, something like that. So if you want to follow along as you go, please feel free to do that. I also don't think that this is going to take, the PowerPoint won't take a full hour. So at the end, if we want to like share what we have in our resumes or something like that, I think we'll have time for that as well. So also please feel free to ask questions, to workshop something, discuss. This is not an exhaustive list, so if you think we've missed anything, let us know and we can pop that in. We're going to share out the document to everybody like on the website. And again, like what ideas do you have that describe your particular SNAP-Ed work, and where do you need more support? Like where, if you have anything in your resume that you're like, I just don't really know how to say this, like maybe it's a really unique, obscure thing that you're doing. You're like, how do I finesse this to make it look like something that, of course would fit many other jobs, but how do I show that in my words in my resume? All right, we'll get into it.
Nice. Okay, so I shared the document in the chat. And like Eileen mentioned, we will have it on the website too, so that if you can't find it later and you need to come back to it, you can look for it there. And before we jump into like reading through all these competencies, most of these were put together by Jen and Acacia. They took some time to look at position descriptions and also just think about, they obviously know the work that we all do really well. And so these are very sort of like generalized, like not every one of these bullet points or statements is going to apply to the work that you personally do. And you may see many of them that do apply to your work. Really, their goal with creating this document and sharing it out with everyone was just to give people something to go off of, some like very professional sounding language to describe the like huge variety of work that we do in SNAP-Ed. And unfortunately, they both have other commitments right now that kept them from being able to present it all to you. But really, we're just sharing the work that they've done and pulled together for us to help us with sort of telling our professional career stories about the work that we've done in SNAP-Ed. So we're just going to read through these. I would love to see as we're reading through them, like if you feel like this one that we're reading at the moment, like describe some of the work that you do. If you like see yourself in one of these competencies, you can do like one of the little emoji reacts or put something in the chat. I just am curious to see how these how these fit. And then, yeah, if you have questions or suggestions, I will say we're going to go through a bunch of these. So if you're thinking about something that isn't on each slide, it might be on a later slide. There's only like 1 or 2 on each slide. So we start in the category of program administration and implementation. The first one that we have is plan, coordinate, implement, and evaluate nutrition education and policy, system, and environmental, we all know as PSE, change strategies to increase food resource management skills, healthy eating, and physical activity in under-resourced communities. We also have prepare and or adapt health promotion materials such as videos, recipes, newsletters, worksheets, flyers, website, and social media that provide relevant information in culturally responsive ways. Yeah, see that thumbs up. All right, now it's back to Eileen.
So also under program administration and implementation, we have recruit, screen, hire, train, supervise, mentor, and or direct work of program staff. And you can include the number of direct reports if you supervise staff, but also volunteers, interns, things like that. Implement approved nutrition education curriculum and activities with youth and or adults, including class series, recipe tasting events, after school programs, and gardening programs. And please feel free to share specific examples of successful activities in one or more of these areas. If you have it, you can include your reach data and any impact data. It's like we were talking about in pairs, you know, you can include those numbers in there as well. I'll pass back to Anna. Just so y'all know, we're just going back and forth. So
All right, I feel like this is one where we spend a lot of our time in building and maintaining relationships. So we have beautiful animations. Thank you, Eileen, for doing all the clicking. Engage partners and participants in collaborative planning to co-create and implement appropriate nutrition education and PSE strategies using evidence-based approaches. See another thumbs up. And cultivate a positive work environment and strong relationships that honor staff and participants' knowledge, skills, behaviors, cultures, and lived experiences. I feel like this one is evidenced pretty well. We all talk a lot or have been talking a lot lately about how much we all love working with each other. I think that's a big part of it. And back to Eileen.
that's me, by the way, in this picture. So again, with building and maintaining relationships, understand the impacts of poverty, racism, food systems, and health equity on well-being, and create opportunities for participants to be involved in activities that reduce these impacts. Identify and leverage resources and partnerships to sustain and grow programs that meet emerging needs and support community priorities. You can share a list of your partners that you work with on a specific project as an example. A lot of this I feel like ties into that lived experience and that everybody is an expert in their own lives, and that we in SnapEd, right, we try to elevate that, and we come from an asset-based, I forget what the word would be, right? We're coming from an asset-based lens. And I think that that's something to point out when we're going out into the world trying to find new opportunities.
And then everyone's favorite, evaluation, reporting, and budget management. In this category, we have this beautiful photo from the forum last year, a bunch of forum in 2024, a bunch of people having dinner, I think. And then, let's see.
Sorry, I forget to click.
It's okay. I was like, are they not showing up or? Okay. So develop and administer a county or multi-county budget, including mid-year amendments. So this is another place where including some specifics about like the counties that you serve, the amount in the budget that you managed. Those like sort of specific numbers can really help sort of demonstrate the level of your skill that you've built in SnapEd. Can do the next one. Purchase, procure, and track equipment and supplies in accordance with established university procedures. Sounds very official. And lead and participate in grant reporting, including collection and entry of data into PAIR's statewide online reporting system, maintain records, administered evaluations, and complete necessary reports to monitor the progress of SnapEd activities. Another thing that we've heard in some of these trainings is to make sure that you spell out any acronyms that you use. So if you do want to include this one that mentions pairs, you probably, I don't know what the full acronym stands for, but I'm going to look it up while Eileen does the next slide and put it in the chat, because you should probably write it out if you're going to reference it in acronym form.
That's a good point. And continuing on with evaluation reporting and budget management, in collaboration with participants and partners, facilitate program, organizations, and community needs assessments to determine needs and readiness for PSE strategies, health promotion activities, and direct education. Use SnapEd state standardized evaluation materials when available. Prepare local reports to share with stakeholders. If appropriate, share your SnapEd program's county or multi-county report from 2024, or use the statewide WCU SnapEd 2024 impact report, or just highlight a few key successes from one of the reports. Those are great numbers that you can put into whatever documents that you're using to send out, either cover letter or resume, something like that. And it looks like Anna put the PAIRS acronym spelled out for y'all in the chat.
Which, to be honest, I probably could have figured that out if I had just thought about it a few more seconds, but stands for Program Evaluation and Reporting System. Very simple and accurate. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, or did you mention this, Eileen? The impact reports are available on the provider's website. And some of you might have your specific, like county specific reports. Amber is a great person to reach out to if you're with, I think everybody on here is WSU, right? Yeah. If you need help getting your specific county level data to include any of those numbers in your materials. So for professional development, we have maintain professional competencies in subject matter, educational methods, PSE strategies, and societal conditions related to limited income audiences. May include keeping up to date with registered dietitian or related certification, food handlers cards, serve safe or other credentials. In this section, make sure you don't just copy and paste this sentence, but include only the things that are relevant to you and adjust the language to take out that may include part, and just put the things that you have, the certifications that you have. Also, this is a good spot if you're applying for something that has a specific, is related to a specific things that you've done in SnapEd. For example, if you have recently completed the Tahoma Peaks working in tribal communities training, including that in this sort of section or with this sentence. If you're applying for something where you would be working with tribal communities, if you've recently done the Utah State National Nutrition Certification Program, making sure that you include that as well. And we can go to the next one. identify and participate in training on implicit bias, anti-racism, health equity, trauma-informed and culturally responsive approaches. So this is what I was just saying. Basically, include any specific trainings that you have found to be especially impactful or useful or are relevant to whatever, you know, the job that you're applying for. Make sure to include those as well.
Then we have convening, coalition building, and collaboration. Convene partners, contributors, community members, and aligned organizations around a specific project or program to facilitate collaborative planning and implementation. Identify community members and partner organizations with aligned goals and visions to participate in collaborative planning and implementation. Implementing a trauma-informed and asset-based approach to engaging with community members and partner organizations. And identifying organizations, partners, and community members with goals and objectives that are complementary and suggesting collaborations that increase the impact of both movements. I think that's something we do really well in SnapEd is we do a lot of collaborating on projects with different agencies, organizations, and we definitely want to showcase that.
All right. And as you all know, there's a lot more that you do in the day-to-day. I put these pictures in here as like some examples of the weird and wacky stuff that I have gotten up to in SnapEd. You know, you definitely learn how to like Tetris pack perfectly the back of your car or your teaching cart or whatever. You might need to like learn how to use a drill to put up a sign in the garden or like how to do some environmental remediation to prepare a site for a school garden. Or you might, you know, be called into action, as hopefully we've all had the chance at some point to be a person dressed as a fruit or vegetable. uh, in a school or community setting or anywhere else. So now that we've read through all these professional competencies, we really just want to open it up now. We have some time to workshop together, to kind of like lean on each other, hear from you all, like what else do you do in your SnapEd work that you don't see captured in these competencies? What parts of your job are a challenge to describe that you might need some help sort of like workshopping or wordsmithing? And where can we support each other in sort of, you know, I think we've already benefited from some like group think about how to describe the work that we all do. Every person's part is different and unique, and everybody does something special in their community. But you know, are there ways that we can help each other figure out how to market ourselves for whatever's next for you? Oh, and Maddie's back. Hi, Maddie.
Hi. How did it go? Was it as boring as I kind of thought some of the competencies might have been?
And
Eileen thinks they're jazzy. That's nice. Okay, good.
I mean, I think they're good. Definitely like, right, like Anna was saying at the beginning of this, like they're very not vague, but they're like more high level, you know, things. And then, you know, what we do specifically fits within them. And I think, you know, Anna also mentioned like adjusting them, don't copy paste. Because they're like too broad, I guess. Yeah.
I'm excited to use them because I was trying to like draft up my resume and I submitted a couple jobs, but like, I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. And this was really nice to have because like I was like trying to like, what do I do? Like highbrow, like that language that Jen and Acacia are great at. Like, and so to have this tool, I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is everything I needed. Okay, I can apply better now. And then on the cover letter, I could like put my personality in. But yeah, I was really pleased to see these competencies. I'm like, oh, that's so helpful.
I want to add to that if you're like looking at a job description that you want to apply for and you see like, it'll like list out the key like responsibilities. I find sometimes like I'll see one and I'm like, oh, that's like what I do in SnapEd. And so you could make the competencies from this list look more like those job descriptions, right? Because they're often very transferable. So like using their language can help you, right? We use our language. We have acronyms and we use all kinds of words that other agencies and organizations are like, I don't know what you're talking about. So if you can kind of like tailor it to what they're asking for, that can be helpful as well.
I gotta ask, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Has anyone like submitted any resumes yet? I've only done 2, and I forgot how much I hate it. Like I forgot deeply, deeply hate it. Because Eileen's correct. Like you need to like use their language and like go on their webpage and like find the stuff and like how do they word things and how do I make what I do match what they're saying and ugh. Okay, well you got good stuff to look forward to if you are applying to stuff. It's great out there.
I've kind of been reluctant to do it because I'm in the same boat, just kind of like, ugh, this is not fun. And just all, like all of the with all the workshops that you guys have been putting together, and then also just hearing from, other people outside of SnapDead to just kind of um, how much work you're gonna have to really put into each kind of thing. It's a lot of energy and it's just overwhelming to do. So I think I've been kind of reluctant to do that. And I know for myself it's been a little difficult because I um personally am feeling like at like a big crossroads of like do we want to stay in the field? Do we want to do something different? And then like so I think this list is so helpful because then it helps um so many people aren't aware of SNAP-Ed and what that program is and what it does. And so trying to explain it to people who aren't even within the nutrition field, or even like food service or just anything food related, this helps a lot. And I think it also kind of helps like, oh, okay, this is where you can start to look for things that might cross over and be transferable. So thank you so much for adding this to the training list.
Yeah, happy to do so. We got to give the nod to Jen and Acacia. We're just the messengers. They did all the legwork, but we'll pass that on to them for sure. And I didn't even do any of the legwork. Anna and Eileen did. Woo! I'm just coming in for the victory lap at the end. I love it.
Leading the training is work too.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, Anna dropped it in the chat, but if there's anything anybody wants to try to like wordsmith or workshop, or if there's like a specific thing that you do in your particular corner of SnapEd and you're like, how do I say this in like the same sort of similar language? We could all work together on that if you're interested. And if you would like us to, we can stop recording
Yeah, I'm in support of like the
and do
stuff
that.
recording. Like they
Okay.
got the information out. This is all secret stuff now. This is for us to work
Okay.
on.
All right. Sorry, people watching the recording. We're
Yeah,
going into secret mode.
we still like you. You
Yes.
can email us if you want your own secret mode. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for watching so far. If you want to be part of secret mode, you got to show up on time.
Yep.
Or
I'm
email
gonna
us. We'll help you.
yeah, or email us. Fine. No. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.